Every late spring here on the property, the rains come. And with that, the grass starts to get ideas above its station. One week it's ankle deep, and then the next, it's trying to reenact Fangle and Forest. Today, I'll show you how I wrangle the spring growth using permaculture principles, some clever hacks, and a whole lot of battery-powered wizardry.
If your spring garden suddenly looks like a lush jungle, and you're wondering how to keep up without spending every weekend pushing a mower, you're in the right place. In permaculture, we always start with observing and interacting. And when spring rolls in, it doesn't take long to realise nature is in maximum productivity mode. Why spring equals grass explosion? Well, we have warm soils plus rain equal ideal germination. Increased daylight hours equals rapid growth. And nitrogen flush in the soil. And the perennial grasses wake up hungry. So instead of fighting nature, our job is to work with it, or at least work cleverly around it. From the gardens we tend to the trees that sway in the warmth of the sun. One of permaculture's topics that I always found interesting was edges. And in spring, edges are where most of our time disappears. Garden edges, path edges, fence lines, driveway edges, house perimeters. Here's the trick. A well-designed edge saves hours every fortnight. With nature as our guide. The permaculture principles used. Use edges and value the marginal. Catch and store energy, in this case grass. Obtain a yield. Clippings will turn into compost or banana circles. Use small and slow solutions. And design from patterns. Let's break down the tools, systems, and little hobbit hacks I use to stay on top of it. Time cannot erase permaculture of the Shire. Let the old ways inspire. Dancing through the meadows, we lift our spirits higher. With every step we take, in harmony we ride. In a world made of man. I keep it pretty simple here on the Shire homestead.
First up is my trusty battery line trimmer. It's quiet, light, quick, and it's really good at doing those edges when they get really cheeky. Then the battery push mower. Perfect for getting around your house where the ride-on mower won't go. And yes, I still have a petrol ride-on, but one day I'd love to own one of those Ego zero-turn beasts. But until that day when the gold from Erebor turns up, I'll just have to use this.
And we will not forget our greatest weapon and nemesis to long grass, Susie the sheep. Here's where we move from just mowing to using permaculture thinking. In a world that's turning green, where nature's gifts unfold. Anything without weed seeds or runners goes straight into the compost bay. It's a brilliant nitrogen source. Freshly cut from
from the garden. They whisper dreams of
Anything with seeds, runners, or heavy fibres goes to the banana circles. Bananas love it. Break it down and you'll never have to worry about spreading seeds.
now. Take a stand, turn those clippings into a helping hand.
Dry it out for a day or two and then lay it thick around fruit trees. Instant moisture retention. It's great for stopping erosion during the wet months.
Don't throw them away into banana.
This is permaculture in action. Using nature's spring abundance as a resource, not a burden.
In harmony with the earth, we're all
Lucky there was no
piling.
tick there.
Send those roots deeper and watch them rise. Reviving life from the ground under open skies. So let's bring it back now.
Here are the hacks I use every spring to avoid a full-blown grass apocalypse.
They're not lost in banana circles. They won't.
This one saves hours. Create a permanent mow line border around garden beds using logs, rocks, metal edging, wood chip paths, or a shallow swale. One clean mow line means you aren't fiddling with the trimmer all day.
These small actions matter.
Pick areas where you don't mow at all. Just slash and drop once a month. These become habitat zones, moisture sinks, weed suppressors, and compost areas. Let the grasses play forest for a while, just not too close to the house.
Protecting the motion, it's a world that we're crafting with every small task. Answering the nature.
Mow short near high use zones like Zone 1. Mow medium around trees and paths in Zone 2. And slash occasionally in the wild edges in Zone 3 or 4. This pattern makes spring growth manageable and keeps you sane.
Bring it back now, take a stand, turn those clippings into a
Already done this and it's brilliant. Bananas love nitrogen-rich waste. Throw in weedy clippings, sticks, palm fronds, old mulch. Nothing phases them. Stops grass creeping into beds. Best subtropical edge fighters: sweet potato, comfrey, vetiver, lemongrass, nasturtiums, some lemon balm or society garlic. These create living mow lines. The grass sees them and goes, "Not today, matey."
together we can flourish. Let our knowledge grow.
Anywhere I'm sick of mowing, I plant something. Trees reduce sunlight, grass density, water availability, and workload. One tree equals one less patch of grass to mow.
I keep a simple rhythm during the peak spring growth. Weekly, I do line trimming around the house zones. I do the mowing of the high use areas and clearing paths. Fortnightly, slashing the chop and drop zones and feeding the banana circles. Monthly, re-establishing the edges, mulching trees and checking irrigation and swales. It's not about fighting nature, it's about you setting a pace that you can sustain.
Down in the dirt where the wild things grow.
You know, if hobbits had to manage the Australian spring grass, the Shire would have looked very different. It's growing out of control, Mr. Frodo. Quick, Sam, fetch the Ego 56-volt mower. Fly, you fools. The grass is already knee-high.
Sacred shrine. The grass is exploding, green and alive, planting by
ground, yeah, I'm working my way in these edges of life.
To reduce workload next year, I'm going to start by planting more perennials, add living mulch plants, expand food forest shade, improve swale placement, add more defined mow edges, replace grass with ground covers in zone 1. So the best way to reduce your workload for next year is to design for it now.
Sunshine on my back with the earth at my feet. Pulling the weeds, got a rhythm so sweet. The tang of the soil, it calls me home. In the heart of this chaos, I'm never alone.
So that's how I manage the wild spring growth here at Gazza the Green Permaculture. Using good design, a few trusty tools, and letting Mother Nature do most of the heavy lifting. If you found this helpful, like it, subscribe for more hobbitish homestead adventures. It's my geese. And drop us a comment about how your garden handles the spring garden madness. Until next time, may your grasses be short, your compost be hot, and your mower starts on the first pull, or you have your batteries fully charged.